Good morning. How are you guys? Welcome to another fabulous episode, guys, of Exit Strategy Radio Show. Hey, I'm your host. Yep, that is me, Corwyn J. Millett, broker and owner, Exit Realty, Low Country Group, in beautiful. Still working on that a little bit. North Charleston, South Carolina. Hey, if this is your first time listening to the show, guys, as I always say, you're in for a treat. Our mission here is very simple, very simple, very simple, very simple. And y'all know it, so I want y'all to say it with me. That is to empower our community through financial literacy and real estate education, guys. We're legacy building, and that is what we do. That's what we all do. So, guys, today's show is no different. So, as you all know, we have made it a point to always work to bring to you people that can benefit you. All right, that's it. If they don't add value, then we don't want it. And that goes across the board, guys. That is in your professional life, but that's also in your personal life. Look here, if they ain't adding value, look here, you might want to reconsider what you're doing. So today, we're very honored to have with us Dannielle Dixon Thomas with us today. Dannielle, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Corwyn. How are you?
I am fabulous. So thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today on our show. Now, I left the back end of that open-ended because, one, I want them to recognize and remember Dannielle.
Correct.
Right? Because I got to remember Dannielle.
Dannielle.
Exactly.
3 syllables.
So I want to make sure that you have the opportunity directly to tell them who you are, what you do, and why you do it. So if you don't mind, if you would, please tell our folks who you are.
Sure. Well, I am Dannielle Dixon Thomas. I am a second-generation Allstate agency owner here in the big city of Moncks Corner, South Carolina, the county seat of Berkeley County. Born and raised here. My parents born and raised here. My husband and I grew up together, went to school here, and we raised our children here. I'm a 1996 graduate of Berkeley High School, a 2000 graduate of Elon University in Elon, North Carolina. And then in 2006, I got my master's from the Charleston Southern University. I am a Diamond Life member of the best sorority ever, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I crossed spring of 2002, and I'm also a member of Alpha Kappa Psi Business Fraternity.
Okay.
Yeah, and I started here with my father in the agency back in 2004.
Okay.
And I came in reluctantly, to say the least. Insurance is not glamorous. I just didn't see it. Dad was like, well, just give it a try. I want to present an option for, at the time, my brother and myself to come into the business. I was like, okay, let's see where it takes us. And then we started succession planning. And in 2017, I was able to retire him, his words, on December 1st. And so now he's living the retired life, and I'm in the boss's chair working now. So I'm down where he was, painting the picture for my children. And they're doing just like me, rolling their eyes like there is no way. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, you just keep getting up in the morning.
So I have similar here. This is, so I'm, first generation realtor, if you will. I'm company owner, et cetera. And I have my oldest two here in the office, and kind of the same thing, really reluctant, don't want to do it. But I mean, who knows? We'll see what happens. But I want to talk with you because so you're second generation. So obviously you had to see value in order for you to move forward. But you guys offer a plethora of products to consumers. I think you guys do this. Well, I say I think, but I want you to tell us. Sure. What size, what type of lines do you guys offer? I think you're going to hit something I want to go further on. So I'm going to let you go. What kind of product lines do you guys offer?
Allstate is known for personal lines. So that would be your auto, home, renters, condo. We also
Mhm.
do business owners insurance
Mhm.
and business auto insurance. There are
Mhm.
certain businesses that Allstate really does well with. And as an agency owner, we have an option to broker business that we cannot place within Allstate. We
Mhm.
also offer financial services. So, life insurance, retirement benefits. For small business owners, we also have Allstate benefits. So, workplace benefits where the employer can do payroll deduction, the employer
Mhm.
can pay for it all themselves or a combination of the two.
Mhm.
Most people don't know that part about Allstate. And I tell people all the time, Corwyn, like my father, we serve the community by being an insurance agent, and it's all about legacy, like you said earlier.
Mhm.
So a good father leaves an inheritance for his children's children. And so by having the proper protection, that's how you set it up for when your loved one passes away. We can actually grieve versus wondering how we're going to pay this bill. How are
Mhm.
we going to sustain the quality of life that we have grown accustomed to when this person is no longer there? So,
Mhm.
having the conversation, educating customers on what they're paying for is very, very critical.
Mhm. So you touched it. The thing that I've been really looking at here lately is something that I want our listeners trustfully to get a little bit more insight on, or at least reach out to you to get, maybe set an appointment, get a better explanation of. We don't leverage one. I know you see it, and I'm sorry for him and Han over it because I
Mhm,
want to be sensitive, but I want to make sure that we talk about it, which is we've become the GoFundMe for insurance, or excuse me, for insurance now.
mhm,
It's incredible to me how often I see that happen. Someone passes and, hey, look, this, hey, we talking to the family. This person is recently served a client who, they buried their cousin passed. They paid to bury the client, the cousin, I'm sorry, and in
mhm,
turn had to probate the estate after that in order to get their money back because no one had any money to contribute to help funeralize the relative. But it's impressive to me, and
mhm,
you guys offer policies along those lines. But I want to also go a step further in asking this question here: how we can learn to not only insure,
mhm,
but leverage the insurance
mhm.
as a financial investment vehicle.
Right, right. And in full disclosure, so Allstate recently sold off the Allstate life insurance company, but we have brokerage with other life companies that we write the policies, and even when it comes to retirement and investing.
Mm,
So you have options even as a business owner, you can use life insurance for buy sell agreements.
mhm,
You can just set it up in so many ways. So it's not just a death benefit to bury the loved one, but use it as a way to launch the legacy for someone else. Like there
mhm,
was an agency owner when before I came in, she needed her financial backing. Like we have to show access to capital. And I think she was like 25 and they were like, "Do you have 100,000?" And she said, "Sadly, I do. My grandmother passed away and the life benefit is what I'm using to start my business."
mm,
Right. And so even for your children, you can get them a policy where as they get older, if they develop a health issue, they've already been insured. Now they don't have to fight the hurdle of pre-existing conditions. It's like,
mm,
no, I'm insured. I can get additional coverage. You can use it, of course, to pay off your mortgage, student loan debt,
mhm,
final expenses. But what if you say, okay, I have this money coming, sit with the financial advisor and say, I don't want to run through this because most people do not get that kind of money at one time.
that's fair.
And when they do, they don't know what to do with it, run through it, have nothing to show for it. They just need guidance on, okay, what is the best thing for me to do to keep my family sustained and
Mm,
go forward? And, I know sometimes in our industry, we do give people a hard way to go about GoFundMe. And it has
mhm,
a purpose, but it should not be the first thing that we go to. I understand, okay, sometimes you don't have any other thing but to pass the collection plate, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you wear people down when you keep setting it up. And it's like, but we see you doing these other things.
Mm-hmm.
So why aren't we making better choices, being a good steward of what's been given to us? And so there are times when life insurance cannot be purchased because the person's health is such that. Then there's times where you make bad choices and you suffer the consequences. Maybe you have an arrest record
Mm-hmm.
that can impact you. Maybe you are on a registry that can
Mm-hmm.
impact you too, because what people don't realize about insurance, Corwyn, is it's about risk and reward.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you purchase a policy, you're saying, okay, I know that there is an inherent risk that I'm going to suffer a loss.
Mm-hmm.
And me signing up for this policy means I'm going to partner with you, whomever the carrier is, and say, if I have a loss, this is how much I'm going to pay, knowing you'll pay this. And I can't expect any more. I can't profit from this loss. I can only be made better than what I was, put back where I was before the loss happened, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so when we buy life insurance, it is an investment tool. In essence, we're putting that money aside and it's hoping it should gain a return, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so if a young person or any person comes in and we see that their driving record is really bad,
Mm-hmm.
chances are we might be paying out on that policy sooner rather than later. So helping people understand like there are consequences to your actions and we want to make good choices and be wise, do better, and then teach our children and our children's children that all of these things, they work in tandem. We might not see it right away, but it works together. So you just want to make sure that your agent, whomever your insurance agent is, that you have the conversation. Tell us what's going on in your life because there are things that can impact your insurance that you may not even think about, but we have to think about. And it's not that we want to get rich because people say, oh, you're an insurance agent. You got a lot of money. And it's like, that money is to help you if you have a loss. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not, it's not coming to me. I mean, because
Yeah.
if it was, that'd be a different situation.
Yeah. You
But
collect them premiums, you don't keep them.
I'm feeling it too. I'm a consumer just like you all. My son is 16, my daughter is 14, so I'm heading into those teen driving years where premiums
Mm-hmm.
go up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to go up because they're inexperienced and
Mm-hmm.
you make mistakes while you're learning.
Mm-hmm.
And we're in that generation of we are now where our parents were. So now
Mm-hmm.
we're looking out for them as well as raising our kids and
Yep.
keeping our things straight. As an agent, we see people at every stage of their life.
Mm-hmm.
It's more than just offering the right policy. Sometimes we just have to be a good friend, a good listener, a counselor, a minister,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes all in one sitting, because what we have is not tangible. Like you go to Belk or Target, as I call it, and you come out with the shopping bag. All we have is a piece of paper.
That's fair.
So we want to help people understand what that piece of paper, what it's saying, and that they just have to use us. Don't be afraid. We're not the enemy. We are your friend.
That's fair. So,
Mhm.
Dannielle, if you could,
Mhm.
right here, before we take this quick break,
Mhm.
could you give our listeners your contact information?
Sure. So we can be reached here at 843-761-7650. My email is dthomas@allstate.com. 2 L's in Allstate. We'll be glad to have a discussion to see if we'd be a good fit.
Awesome. Awesome.
Mhm.
Well, listeners, guys, we're going to take a quick break right here. As I always say, grab the syrup, flip the flapjack, look here, pour it up, and holler at your boy because I'll come on through and grab me a stack this morning. But we're going to be right back, guys. Y'all hold tight, and we're going to pick right back up on this conversation. Congratulations to Exit Realty Low Country Group's Realtor of the Week, none other than Kashana Wine. You can reach Kashana by dialing 843-818-3591 or text Amazing Homes. That's Amazing Homes, AMAZING INGHOMES to 85377. Y'all give Kashana a holler now. Guys, we are back. Second segment, Exit Strategies Radio Show. Hey, I'm your host, Corwyn J. Millett, broker and owner of Exit Realty Low Country Group in beautiful North Charleston, South Carolina. Hey, we have none other than Dannielle Dixon Thomas with us today, Allstate Insurance, Moncks Corner office. How are you doing today, Dannielle?
Doing great. Hope you are too.
Awesome. So before the break, you were kind of breaking down and telling our listeners, obviously about relevant uses for insurance and what that looks like on your side. So I'm over here. I'm gonna raise my hand. Look here. When I was a teenager, so I messed around as a kid and used to watch Dukes of Hazzard too much. And I over here rubbing my face because there was literally one of my friends had a nickname for me that was Carowin. That was a nickname because when they got in the car with me, we would do all kind of stuff: jump, railroad tracks, race, slides, drift, all kind of stuff. It was terrible. Look here, I remember it. One of my cousins now talks about some of the stuff I used to do as a kid with a car. As I started driving, I literally drove automobiles in the country, but I still drove automobiles in the small town I'm from. I was 9 years old.
Things that happen in the country, right?
Driving a full-size car around town.
Right.
I say all that to say that you touched on the things, the risk factors, the things that we sometimes don't see, we miss in that overall thing that you guys have to pay attention to. Driving records, unfortunately, criminal records, things of that nature that influence or impact the ability for someone to get insurance. Am I correct?
Correct.
Let's say that, and granted, guys, we're a show with financial literacy, real estate education. So not only we're about empowerment, we understand sometimes we got to overcome. My question would be, what kind of options? I mean, obviously, auto insurance, that's different. Property insurance, that's different as well. But life insurance and things of that nature, I know you guys broker those. But what does that look like for someone who may, quote unquote, have to overcome those particular? Because we don't want to discourage people. We want to figure out how to encourage them. So what does that look like from your point of view?
Okay, so say you're looking for auto insurance. In South Carolina, the state says the minimum coverage that you need, $25,000 for one person's bodily injuries, $50,000 maximum, and then $25,000 property damage. So the bodily injury is medical bills. So one person, max $25,000, but if there's multiple people, they have to split that $50,000. And then $25,000 property damage. Property is a car, house, utility pole, anything that's not a person. Well, when you have an accident, your company says, hey, I'm only held to the number on this paper. Anything above that becomes your personal responsibility. So we work with customers to say, hey, the check's going to be written. How soon do you want to write the check? Because it's going to happen. We had a situation today where a customer's brakes failed on their vehicle coming off of I-26. And the emergency brake did not work. Fortunately, they did not hit anyone. They were able to pull over, but they carry more than the state minimum limits. Because if it had been rush hour on Don Holt, can you imagine what that would have been like? And you figure cars today, if $25,000 is what the state says the minimum you need, but even base model cars, you already maxed out, just like right there, because we've got technology. So if you hit someone's bumper, it's no longer, oh, I can just buff it and paint it. No, there's cameras. The whole thing has to come up. So those different things. So I get the nervousness of, oh my gosh, $100,000 limit. And it's like, yeah, but would you rather the insurance company write the $100,000 check, or would you be in the position to kick out that kind of money? Most, even people who have that kind of money, they're not, excited about kicking it. Right. It's like, I'm not doing that. So helping people understand, like, I get it. You may not be in a situation to afford it today, but just know these are real things that can happen. Like, I've seen it happen. And you have your collision deductible, If you hit something, that's how much you're going to pay to get your car fixed. Your
Mhm.
comprehensive deductible is, you hit an animal, maybe there's a weather loss, your windshield needs to be
Mhm.
repaired or replaced, theft or vandalism. With the exception of glass, you're going to pay something out.
Mhm.
So understanding how coverages work and when it makes sense to carry those coverages and when it makes sense to say, you know what, I don't need this right now. Let me set that money aside for when I do buy a vehicle that needs that. And then uninsured motorists and underinsured, those protect you when the other person has no coverage or if
Mhm.
it's a multiple car accident and their
Mhm.
coverage runs out before they get to you. So you want to make sure you understand what it is, how it works, and again, quiz your agent. I mean, there's questions that we can ask the claims people to help interpret the policy to
Mhm.
give you guidance on what to do. But if you don't call us back, if you don't do the policy reviews, the claim is not the time to find out you don't have a coverage. Auto insurance is pretty cut and dry, but when it comes to your home, as a realtor, you understand there's multiple numbers out there. And so on the insurance side, we're looking at what will it cost to rebuild this home. The appraisal value, it has a meaning, but it doesn't carry as much weight as what we're looking at to rebuild this home. What they pay to purchase the home, the market value, again, that's driven by supply and demand. We're looking at when it comes time to write this check, what is the cost of lumber? What is the cost of, it's more than just rebuilding. We have to tear down and remove what was destroyed and
Mhm.
then come back in. So there's all these different facets that come into play. And again, helping people understand, no, we're not trying to get over because in our industry, we are reactionary. We do not
Mhm.
know the cost of loss until they happen.
Mhm. So
So that's
what?
how it goes.
So one of the things that a lot of people don't realize or know that in, let's say, homeowners insurance, that's where we're at.
Hmm.
There is the replacement cost typically is over and above. So there's like 125% replacement cost. So if your home has to be, rebuilt, that's one of the reasons why typically, and Danielle, I ain't saying this what people do, but typically you see people will rebuild the house bigger, better than what it was before
Right.
because the replacement cost is greater. They have more money. The dirt ain't going nowhere. So the cost to rebuild that home, taking out the dirt value, if you will, you have more money that quote unquote available to go into the construction and therefore improve the home. Sometimes, by adding additional square footage,
Hmm.
making substantial cosmetic improvements or
Hmm.
changes to it, therefore increasing the value of the home. And then what you're going to do at that point in time, you're going to come back and reinsure it based upon what its value is there and protect yourself yet again.
Right.
So that if you have another casualty, so to speak, then you're able to do the same thing over again.
Right. Yep. And then it's more than when you look on the home policy, there's coverages that are optional that,
Mhm.
again, people do not consider. Water backup. What happens if the sewer backs up into your home? Are you covered or are you paying for that out of
Mhm.
your pocket? What happens if you have an older home that was destroyed? Now you have to rebuild, but the building codes have changed. Do you
Mhm.
have building codes covered? Because it
Mhm.
costs to bring something up to the current codes. Have you done land, like lawn improvement,
Mhm.
where you have like the better homes and garden kind of like, do you have coverage in place
Mhm.
for that? And so all these different ask your agent if do you own jewelry that
Mhm.
the base policy may say, okay, your limit Corwyn is $2,000 and that's to cover all your bling. And you're like, what? This math not mathing because I got one thing that's like 2,000. So then do you schedule or do you increase the jewelry coverage? Are you a gamer? Do you have, the PS5? That's
Uh-huh.
like, do you have these types of things where your policy has a limit and it encompasses that group? But if you need it for a specific thing, then you need to schedule the coverage. It may require an appraisal. You
Mhm.
need to get it. And to
Mhm.
say it might be $100 extra for you to insure that $10,000 ring. But at least
Mhm.
you know I can go back and get this ring. And a lot of times we as consumers, we can't see the big picture because we're counting the pennies. And it's like, okay, remember,
Woo!
we gotta look at, okay, again, it's coming out of my pocket. How much? I could probably find $100 to insure a $10,000 ring, but could I find 10,000 to replace that ring?
Mhm,
Negative. So, helping people see it in those terms. Sometimes they get it,
mhm.
sometimes they don't, but it's up to us to share. And but what they do with the information after we give it to, it's not on us. It's on us to give them. And we work to educate. Some get it today, some get it tomorrow, and some,
Don't.
and it's like, it's off me now, it's not mine anymore. I have given. Silver and gold have I none, but such as I have, I give it unto thee. Like, do what you want.
Well,
But yeah.
so if you don't mind, one more time, as we
Mhm.
wrap up on today's
Sure.
show, that was some great information. But give your contact information if you don't mind, Dannielle, one more
Sure.
time for our listeners.
You can reach us at 843-761-7650. My email is dthomas@allstate.com, two L's in Allstate. You can find me on social media, spell my name just as you see it on the screen. Follow us, reach out. Even if you don't choose us, even if we aren't a good fit, we'd like to have the conversation just so you can understand a little bit more about what you're paying monthly, every 6 months, every year, just so you understand what it is.
Awesome. Danielle, thank you so much for being with us today. For our listeners, guys, look, y'all heard it. Y'all heard it from someone who does this quote unquote on a day-to-day basis. Y'all make sure that y'all reach out and find out what you need to do about your current policy, what you could do to improve it, how you can maximize and increase your leverage. Guys, that's what this thing here is all about. We are very intent on making sure that you guys get the best information and we bring you the best people to deliver it. Again, thank you, Dannielle, for being a part of the Exit Strategies Radio Show family. To our listeners, you know how we always say this thing, and you know that we mean it. We love you. We love you. We love you. And we're going to see you guys out there in them streets.